Is Luke Walton in trouble? Good question, man.
I like it.
That's a good question. We didn't even talk about that in the pre-show.
We didn't, but
Well, we
that
tend to try and steer clear of those super hot ones like that because it can go in many different directions.
you need
But
more information.
yeah, in those things, that's my only problem with where we're at as a society now is the story comes out the way that it's the charges are put, and we don't that's it. So the first news we get for a while is the charges, and then it trickles out information. It could be he did do it, but it could be he didn't, but we have to wait for that to happen, and then it sinks into your brain the charges. So I just what I wish we could avoid. What's up, Outlaw?
What's
How
going
you
on,
doing,
Outlaw?
buddy?
Howdy.
Howdy, y'all. It's gonna be interesting. He's already hired. Do you think the Kings knew about that?
I'm sure they did.
You sure they did? Because I sure as heck would have thought the Mavericks would have known what was going on with Porzingis, and they didn't.
I'm sure the Mavs knew.
No, they're saying they didn't.
I'm sure they knew. Okay,
Sources within them.
in
Not, obviously, they're
my
not publicly saying it, but sources are saying that they did not know
they knew.
the specifics.
I bet they knew, but they didn't know the specifics. But I'm sure they had some inkling of it. These teams do such an incredibly good job
Yeah,
of researching and knowing everything about these players. I think Dallas knew about the situation, but at the same time, it's not a good look to be like, oh yeah, we knew he was in trouble for this, but we got hold of him anyway because we figured that it was
the
going to be put out,
yeah.
which is the case.
The only reason I am, and this has nothing to do with being a Mavs homer at all. Okay, the only reason why I'm saying I don't believe they knew, they did. They said that they knew, they were aware of an extortion case, like someone was trying to extort him. That's all they knew. The reason why I believe they didn't know the full extent of it is because honestly, I truly believe if they knew about them, they wouldn't have pulled off that trade because they just had that scandal with the sexual harassment claims and all that they dealt with in the offices of the Mavs and stuff. I don't think they would have pulled that trade if they would have
I
known
think
that.
I think they knew, but they also knew when it was going to come out to the public, and they knew that it was something that was going to be a non-issue anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, you never know. I'd like to think regardless of whether they knew or they didn't know, I think I still hold them in the exact same regard. Like I wouldn't think worse of them if they knew, because if they knew, they probably
Yeah.
also knew that it was a non-issue, and they already knew it was extortion involved as well.
Yeah.
So if they knew about it and it turns out there was no extortion and there were all these issues, then I'd be a little
Then it's an
worried. But
issue. Then you really start to wonder what the F's going on with the Mavs because
yeah,
all those issues, that happened a couple years ago. I mean, it's been happening for years, but came to light. What was that, last year or the year before?
yeah, and I think that stuff happens more often than we think, and it's just not put
Oh
in the
my God.
public light.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it happens in
Any company,
any company, any
yeah,
job, anywhere. There's stupid stuff like that happening all the time, and um, it's just when you're in that high profile of you can't let that stuff happen anywhere. It can't happen anywhere,
yeah.
but it's very interesting. Well, I kind of want to hold our discussion for the Luke Walton thing until we get a little bigger story on it, of what maybe hear a little bit more about it because it's quick to come up with an opinion when you just see the charges and stuff. We need to
Mhm.
kind of see what plays out after that. I see that Lag still hadn't made his bed chill. I just want to point that out.
It's made. What more? Okay.
If I
Also,
squint my eyes,
oh man.
yep, it looks made.
I
Oh
also
nope, it's
have to
not made
say that
anymore.
the bed is right against the window too, so it's difficult to tuck that side. I can't really tuck that side on the edge of
Joe,
it.
you need to give this boy a spanking.
So
He's coming up with. He's saying he ain't gonna do his chores. He
it
said,
looks
"Well, the bed."
wrinkly. It looks wrinkly, but it is made.
I believe you. So it'll be interesting to see some more stuff will come about that. Um,
They're talking about Jason Kidd for the
yeah,
Lakers.
that's interesting. He's saying that he has like refocused himself on coaching. That he wasn't necessarily focused on coaching
Oh yeah, he
before.
made some stupid decisions when he was coaching the Bucks.
I mean, yeah, basically the Bucks. He leaves the Bucks, and look, they're the number one seed, and making a run. It's like the same situation with what was his name, Jackson. As soon as he leaves and they get Kerr, they start their dynasty. It's sometimes it can be a coach making bad decisions that's holding the team back.
And
You
the
know what I'm saying?
crazy part was that, I mean, everyone, me included, was in uproar when they fired Mark Jackson because he had done a
He,
great job with the
yeah,
team. But then you see Kerr come in and take them to the next level, and you start thinking, like you said, maybe a
yeah.
little bit of it has to do with the coach. I'm interested to see if Mark Jackson I mean, all these coach opportunities available, and Mark Jackson isn't getting called up for one of
I don't
them.
think he wants. I don't. I would assume there'd be a lower tier team that would take him, but I don't. Why? I mean,
He's doing an announcement gig, right? Like an
yeah.
announcer
Why?
gig now.
It's the same deal with Gruden. Why? Gruden got paid. He probably
Got
making more
money.
with the Raiders than he did with ESPN. But it's why? Like John Madden, he like no, I ain't ever going back. Less stress and might be more
Oh,
money depending on the situation. So. Um, I get, we're talking NBA. You want to talk NBA playoffs?
let's do it. Why not?
Smooth transition.
Smooth as silk.
So I think right before we went live here, the Raptors finished off the Magic, right?
Magic. Yep, and it looks like the 76ers are going to handle the Nets.
So that'll be an interesting matchup. I just feel like 76ers talent, if they kind of get out of their own way, they can't be beat. But I'm not necessarily saying they're coming out of the East. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they get in their way too much, their own way. I
I think,
feel like,
yeah, I think out of the top four teams, because for each one of those matchups, a top seed won their matchup,
yeah,
and I think that they're ordered perfectly. I think the Bucks are the best team, the Raptors are the second best, 76ers are third best, and Celtics are fourth best.
yeah. It'll be a good series. The Raptors, I can never, and I get it's a different team with Kawhi. I just can't respect the Raptors in the playoffs yet. I just can't until something different happens. You know what I'm saying? I just can't.
There's no LeBron there anymore. They have a chance.
True, but I don't. I just can't see it. I don't know. I guess I need to erase uh, the past Lakers. I mean, the past Raptors with DeRozan, and I think Kawhi makes that team a different, style of team in the playoffs. So,
Yeah, appreciate the
um,
lurk, Sona.
yeah, appreciate that.
I still have what I predicted before. I think that the Rockets are going to get through and the Raptors are going to get through.
I, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I know you don't share
We'll see.
that same
We'll-
opinion. I all I know is the week of the Rockets Warriors series, I'm
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be.
on edge and angry all the time.
It's
But
gonna be.
just a
It's gonna be a tough to live with lags. I'm sure.
it's gonna be incredibly tough.
Rip
I
to Chow.
get over it after like 20 to 30 minutes after the game's over. Generally speaking,
Yeah. I so we that's gonna be an interesting matchup. The Bucks swept the Pistons, and I guess the Celtics swept the Pacers. So that's be an interesting matchup. Who do you got there?
oh Bucks easy. I don't think the Celtics like they're starting to find their identity a little bit, but they've been so up and down. You typically I would take the Celtics because they're so talented. I mean, they have Kyrie Irving, they have Jason Tatum, they have Horford, they have
I just I just
that's
feel
so
like
many
that's a
good
team
pieces.
that doesn't necessarily
Hayward,
care about the regular season.
even in the, I mean, they just seem so. Hayward's, I feel like he had a great game. I don't remember if it was game 2, 3, or 4 that he had a really good game. He's still kind of trying to find his way after that terrible injury that he had.
Yeah, well, that was what was that like 5 minutes into his Celtics debut,
That was,
basically? That was
yeah, that was
rough.
awful. Going up, I think it was
That was
going up
rough.
for, was it going up for an alley oop or going up for a block, and he
It
just
was something like that. Yeah, it
snapped his
was.
leg. I
Yeah,
remember. I think I was watching that live too, man. Well, not
I
there, but like on TV as it was happening.
brutal.
But yeah, I got the Bucks, man. The Bucks are incredibly talented too. And another fun thing we get as well is last year, um, Rozier for the Celtics and Eric
Scary
Bledsoe.
Terry.
Yeah, Eric Bledsoe for the Bucks. They got into it. Like it
Ooh,
was really heated, and again matched up again. So
there we go.
I expect it to be a nice, chippy series.
Yeah, I think it
And
will be.
yeah,
That's a good one. That's gonna be. It's. I think the Bucks are gonna have to show that they have some toughness because they've been able to kind of steamroll a little bit, and let's see if they. And then the Celtics is gonna have to show if they have anybody that can slow down Giannis.
Bucks and
Uh,
6.
Bucks
My
and six.
prediction.
Oh man, I'll say my prediction. I'll say just opposite. I'll say Celtics and six. I just don't think the Bucks. I keep saying I just don't think the Bucks are fully there yet to be a championship team. Not saying they're not ever, but I just don't think they're there yet. They do have some, some veteran talent on that team, but your main guy is Giannis, and he it takes some experience in the playoffs to navigate the playoffs. So be interesting. So that's the East we got there. Westy West. What? Who's playing? I don't. There's a couple. There's a couple no names over there in the West playing it. No, really, not really paying attention to the West. No. So it pretty much looks like Warriors Rockets round two. That's pretty much
I mean,
unless.
they're both up 3-1, so it's. I mean, I'm anticipating the Warriors and the Rockets win both their next games, and they get just almost an equal amount of rest going into their matchup. Unfortunately, it would have been nice for the and they both play tomorrow as well, so it would have been nice for the Rockets to have an extra day of rest personally, but
Yeah.
it
Is he?
happens. It was one of those off shooting nights where the Rockets are gonna have them when you shoot all those threes, and they were the most. I'm gonna go on a short 2 minute tangent. The most frustrating thing in the world about watching the Rockets play basketball is that Daryl. Okay, first of all, Daryl Morey and D'Antoni are geniuses because there's so many open
Oh
looks.
God, they're
There's so many
geniuses.
open looks in that offense. The ball movement is so crisp, and it's the same thing with the Warriors. The ball movement is so good, but the Rockets more so if the shots aren't falling. And these are wide open shots. And you're not going to make all of them understand, but it's just if they get cold, it's over.
That's what I feel like is the fault of the Rockets is I feel like the Rockets have one elite shooter, one, but yet they're a shooting team. That's how they win
They have a
or
bunch of.
lose.
They have a bunch.
I'm saying elite. I said elite. Don't say they have more than one elite shooter. Then you're just basically
Okay,
saying you're Rockets
give me a team
homer.
other than Golden State that has more than one elite 3-point shooter.
Exactly. That's why I don't believe elite teams that rely on shooting only ever win championships other than Golden State because they have multiple elite shooters.
We'll see.
Every team that's won has to have something more than that's why I feel like the Rock. That's why I fault the Rockets and never because they have one elite shooter, and but yet they're a shooting team. That's why D'Antoni's teams have always struggled in the playoffs.
We just need to put together 13 more wins.
Good luck, because you're running into the Warriors next round, buddy. So
Yeah, that'll be a tough matchup. The Warriors are playing really well, even without Cousins. They have so many elite players, and the ball movement there's crisp, and they're really good at setting illegal screens, especially Andrew Bogut,
yeah,
who's on their team now too. So Andrew Bogut, I think literally the first play Andrew Bogut was back, he got called for an illegal screen, so he's back to what he does best, setting
yeah,
illegal screens.
good for him for never. I mean, first of all, have extending his career as long as it has,
Oh yeah.
and then to be off, wherever he just was. Where did they sign him from? Because he wasn't in the NBA.
Maybe he went back to because Andrew Bogut's Australian, I believe.
Yeah.
So maybe
So
he went back there. I don't. And Andrew Bogut was a number one pick.
I mean, good number one pick. It's just I think injuries kind of slowed him down a
Yeah.
bit, but he was a good player. Still, I mean, he's that old school center. That's a dying breed in the NBA, but we'll see. Um, we'll see. It's gonna be an interesting round two because that looks like that's what it's gonna be, unless something crazy happens. And then this is kind of the surprise one for me. Portland up 3-1 over the Thunder.
Which is it's funny that we see that as a surprise because aren't wasn't Portland higher a
Yeah, it's
higher
just
seed?
Portland has that. Portland's
Yeah,
core has been the same. It hasn't really changed, and they disappoint in the playoffs. So
they do
I was
have
a
Cantor now though,
Cantor. Yeah, I forgot they picked him up. That
and
does
they're
have
playing against Oklahoma City, and Cantor knows Oklahoma City really well.
true.
That could play a factor in it. But I am surprised too. I picked Oklahoma City to get through that series. I think I might have picked Oklahoma City to get to the Western Conference Finals, and I
Yeah,
don't think that's happening. I think you're right. I
yeah.
think Portland takes care of business.
That's cool for Portland because Lillard has taken a lot of heat for not being able to win in the playoffs. You tweeted out a couple days ago he might be the most underrated player. I don't know if I say he's the most underrated because he gets a lot of love, but I think coming to playoff time, he's underrated because it's not all on him. It's the same shit that Dirk had to go through. Here I go with my Dirk talk. Dirk took all that heat for years for not being able to get past the Spurs and in the playoffs. He was doing it alone. You know, when you're a superstar in the NBA, it just bothers me that they're so discounted as a superstar because they can't carry a team past to a championship. LeBron James can't carry a team by himself. He has to have help. Uh
LeBron might be
Le-
one of the few people that's
no, who? No, what?
when
How?
they beat
When?
Golden
Where?
State with
He
Kyrie.
had Kyrie.
No, Kyrie was
Kyrie.
injured, right? Or no, was that the
No,
year
Kyrie
before?
hit the dagger of the series.
That was
Kyrie
the
was
year
like the
before that Kyrie got
no
hurt, and he
when
took
they
them all the way. But
when
they lost to Golden State that year when Kyrie was hurt.
they had Kevin Love, who is a good player,
But
right?
the only reason I would say LeBron can do that is LeBron carried
Did
on
he do it the Lakers?
he carried that okay. He carried Cleveland teams twice to the playoffs with literally
Super weak East though. You
with
admit it.
no one
Back
else.
then, the East was horrendous. It
That
was
was pretty bad.
the
That was
West had like, I mean, the West owned the NBA at that
that
point.
is true. I'll give you that. I'll definitely
All
give you
right.
that. They did.
So
They
I
did.
just don't think I don't. LeBron has not shown that he can carry a team to a championship victory. He might be able to get them there, like in a weak East, but he had Kyrie, he had Kevin Love, he had some help for sure. And then obviously to even win his first title, he had to go and do a super team. So um, it's that's always bothered me a little bit about. I feel like NBA is really the one that is the only sport that really does that. Um, NFL a little bit, will have that happen, especially to quarterbacks. But it's not all quarter. You know what I'm saying. You feel what I'm saying there, dog?
Yeah, you gotta have a defense. If you're your quarterback, you can put up 40 points a game. If the other team scores 45 a game, no
There's
matter how
nothing
good
you
your
can do about
quarterback
it.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that we how many quarterbacks have we seen? Tony Romo, who is a great quarterback, but he is hated that he doesn't get the love he deserves because he never had the help, man. He never had a defense.
yeah. Tony has gotten some more, I guess, credibility since being a
Yeah.
commentator because people are starting to understand how he's so good at picking apart the game and
He was just
all
a little
that.
too much of a he idolized Brett Favre and he tried to be that guy. And Brett Favre is, arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And Tony Romo was great, good, but not that level. And that's always what hurt him a little bit. Is he's just super smart. Obviously, you see it now as a commentator, but he idolized Favre, so he would do those Favre-ish type things and just try and thread the needle one too many times and that's where he always got hurt. But it's cool for Portland. It's cool for Lillard. What's that other guy there? He's been there for McCollum. He's been
McCollum.
there. He's
Yeah,
been there for a while.
he's super underrated. He's really good. And
I,
Portland, like honestly, in my ideal world, if I want the Rockets to beat each one of the teams I dislike,
yeah.
we beat the Jazz. Don't like the Jazz. We beat the Warriors. Don't like the Warriors. We beat the Trailblazers. I have a vendetta against the Trailblazers from the year that Lillard hit a game-winning three on us in the playoffs.
Boom.
And then the East, I really don't care who we play. Philadelphia. F Philadelphia, man. They're annoying. Embiid's
They are.
annoying.
They
That whole
they
entire
are. They're
Jimmy
starting
Butler's
to
annoying. The whole team's
they're
annoying.
they're starting to. I think they're starting to teeter towards that. They're gonna be hated.
Oh yeah,
They're gonna be a hated team. They're
they're probably
teetering on
yeah,
it.
they're probably the most hated team. I can't think of another team that people dislike in the East because the East is a bunch of lovable like
Yeah,
maybe people
true.
don't like Boston too much, but people seem to like Jason Tatum. People like the
Yeah,
Bucks. Like the Bucks, it's like there's no bad apples on that team. Maybe Bledsoe on occasion.
true.
Um, the
Just
Raptors have.